Peace, love, and light, my beautiful guys, my goddesses, and your majesties. Okay, real quick, listen. So I shared one of my manifestation techniques that help you train your brain to stay in a positive mindset so that you can bring those manifestations into fruition. And I wanted to share some stories with you about how it worked for me. So when I first started doing it, I started off by saying, why am I so happy? Why am I so happy? And then I said, because everything always works out for me. Everything always works out for me. So in my brain, in my thoughts, I was constantly saying that. So I did it for about 3 or 5 days, and I actually manifested $1,200. And then I ended up, me and my husband, we ended up going out of town a month later. We get to the rental car space at the airport, and when I say it was hectic, I got there and I can't remember, something was going on with my credit card. So they said I couldn't get the rental car from the place that I had reserved it at. So I went next door to another one. Well, they said the same thing. Now we are stuck in a city, and we're supposed to be driving from that city 3 hours to our destination. So we sit in this airport like, what are we going to do? I started saying, you know what? Everything always works out for me. Everything always works out for me. I went to, I want to say Enterprise, and Enterprise told me, because actually they were all, most of the places were all out of rental cars. So Enterprise said, well, if you can find a car on the on reservation, go ahead and reserve it and we can get you the car. And I found a truck. I was like, whatever, my husband's gonna have to drive. Got the truck and ended up being able to leave to our destination. So that was the first incident. Now, on our way back home, we get to the airport, we go to check in our bag, and the people that are at the counter are nowhere to be found. Our flight is, I think, leaving off in maybe an hour. And yeah, we got to the airport about an hour before we were supposed to leave. And we're like, okay, can somebody come and get these folks? Because we need to check this bag. So this lady comes, 2 ladies came out. One was really nice, one was really not. So the one that was really not was really nasty. She was telling us that it was nothing she was going to be able to do. She wasn't going to check our bag. We was going to have to get on another flight for tomorrow. And I was like, we don't have nowhere to stay. We supposed to be on our way back home. We done checked out our room. No, that's not an option. So the other lady, the nice lady, grabbed our bags, checked it for us, and we flew to TSA. Now, mind you, now I think it's about 45 minutes, maybe 40 minutes before we take off. And the line is wrapped around. I'm talking about, this was the first time that I had ever went through this airport and the line was that long. Like, because that's why I came an hour before my flight, because usually I'm in and out 15, 20 minutes top. For some reason today, my patience was being tested. But I had my affirmation. Everything always works out for me. Everything always works out for me. So my husband, who is 6'4", whose legs are a lot longer than mine, was walking really fast because we trying to hurry up and get through TSA. Get to TSA, not even get through it, just try to get to it. And he had started walking a little bit ahead of me. So this man who worked at the airport walked up on me and was like, oh my God, you are so beautiful. You are so beautiful. And I said, oh, thank you. He said, no, honey. He said, you ain't got to stand in this line. He said, I'm about to get you through this line. Honey, I grabbed my husband and said, come on, honey. Look, come on. We finna get through the line. And then the man, he was like, oh, man, you got a husband? So I was like, yeah. So he was like, all right. Well, we already at the part where we get straight through. So, of course, one of the TSA workers wasn't a very nice one. He decided that he was going to call his supervisor because this man actually had no authority to be able to bring people through. But he was like, look, this is my family. They about to miss their flight, and I'm trying to help them out. And he was like, well, you have no authority. He was trying to take the man's badge and everything. So the man calls the supervisor over, and the supervisor was nice. And the supervisor said, go ahead, let him get through. But mister, don't you do that again. Don't you do that again. And all because I said everything always works out for me. I didn't lose my cool. I could have lost my cool at that lady at the counter because it was her fault that they weren't at the counter. I guess they just assumed wasn't nobody else coming. And they left and went to go start having their lunch, or they was taking their time from having their lunch. I think that's what it was. They just thought wasn't nobody coming. And I can understand the TSA's position because, you know, the man didn't have the authority. But honey, I work with a higher power. A higher power. And it's me. It's me. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. And I was tested. But I didn't lose my cool. I kept saying everything's always working out for me. Why are you so happy? Because everything's always working out for me. Now try it. I'm telling you. Everything is always working out for you. You are ordained this. This is your birthright. You come from a wealthy, successful, abundant, luxurious, loving, caring, joyous, always happy God. So why don't you think that you're supposed to have those things too? Everything always works out for you. Everything always works out for you. Believe it and stand on it. Stand on business. Now have an amazing day.